Redstone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
What's up everyone? Recently I've been having some trouble with my cooling system. I was getting too hot, so essentially I decided to restart, and this gives me an opportunity to sort of show you a step-by-step of how to fill, how to bleed, and how to drain an M20 cooling system. So let's get at it. So essentially step one is going to be install the radiator. It just drops down into a little support thing that it has. So now we'll go ahead and put on the bottom radiator hose. I think this probably takes a little bit of finesse. There we go. Okay, make sure it's up on there. Then you take your hose clamp, you make sure all your hose clamps are nice and tight, because you don't want to be chasing your tail when you have leaks later if you don't tighten these up enough. Okay, so the best filling technique that you can do is sort of take each pipe, starting with the lowest, off the car, and sort of make sure the bottom one on the radiator is tight. And essentially all you do is, this is my premix, is pour it into these tubes. Oh my God! Until it starts coming out. So that started coming out pretty quick, so I know that one's pretty much done. That came out of the hole that I put it in, so that means essentially that the block is full. So now I can tighten that one up. Like all the others, make sure it's nice and tight. Next I'm going to do the second lowest, which is going to be this one, which goes to the bottom of the radiator. Essentially, I'll just be very careful here. Pull it back. Pour. Now the reason you go ahead and do it radiator hose to radiator hose, sort of one at a time like this, is that if you just fill it up from the reservoir, you can end up with a lot of problems because air will get trapped in your system. So this is sort of a superior way to do it. I can actually hear bubbling from this in the tank over here. So what I'll do is make sure your bleeder is open. I'll pour some more in this tank over here. But essentially this tube is now full. So I can go, I can get it on there, bring up the hose clamp, okay, solid. So all my hose clamps are nice and tight on here. Check them again, and then got another coolant jug here. Man, you know what I hate? These freaking the seals on these coolant jugs. I always feel like I'm gonna get little bits of aluminum in my oil or my coolant or something. So I'm always scared about these. I don't know, just a little, probably irrational fear of mine. So now I just dump it in this tallest one. Now, I've already got quite a bit of water in the system from when oh, there we go. Did it earlier. So, if you didn't see that, I actually got coolant coming out of the reservoir. So this is full. Just put it all the way on there. But as I was saying, I already have a lot of water in the reservoir, and that gallon jug that I have is actually pre-mix that I just drained. So essentially, you want to make sure you have a 50-50 coolant to water, distilled water I might add, mix in your cooling system. So I still have this drain plug open, still not allowing any water out, we still got air. So essentially, just gonna fill this reservoir up very carefully. Drain plug open. I always put a rag down here just cause. Now I'm getting some water out of this. I went on Amazon. Essentially, all I did was I purchased a fluid transfer pump, and this fits directly onto like coolant jugs or oil jugs. I think they're meant for oil, but this will work well for our purposes. So I ordered this, just got it, broke my frickin' thing. Now essentially, this is a gallon sized one. They have smaller quart sized ones, but you take a little. Okay, so with all these tightened down now, I can sort of give it one last hurrah. So I'll take the hose off the reservoir right here. And then I can fit it, I guess like this, onto the weird little thingy. I really don't know what this is for. So, what I'll do, take my hose clamp, put it directly on this thing, take this. Oh, there we go, okay. So, what I'll do now is pump the coolant in to this system until there's no more air in the system. That'll just keep me from adding air to the system. Then I'll take it, I'll lock it down over here. What I'll essentially do is pump pressurize the system. Okay, it's good and pressurized. I'll let the bleeder open a bit. Okay, so you saw all the air to come out of that bleed valve over there. Some of that was probably me adding it, but some of that was also probably from the system initially. So I'll just crack it again. Okay, so with that sort of tight, I'm just going to pump it in a little more. And what you see is the coolant expansion tank fills up pretty nicely. So all I'll do is give it one last crack on the bleeder. Okay, so it's nice and good. Now I can take this, I want to put it above the tank. All we'll do there . There we go. Putting this back on. Nice and tight. Okay. Boom. So that's how you use a pump. So essentially that's how you bleed it cold, and the next step is going to be to turn it on and crack the bleeder valve, that sort of thing. So with the front end raised, the bleeder valve is the highest point on the system, so all the air will naturally try to go there. Just reinstall the radiator. Now it's ready to fire up. But essentially you want to get it up to operating temperature. And you can already see I've got little air bubbles coming up now. Now, this is something you want to do with your heater on full, but I'm actually bypassing my heater just for the time being, so that doesn't apply to me. So this is still tuned pretty shitty. I'm in the process of tuning it right now, but essentially got little air bubbles coming up. Don't know if you can see it on the camera. But this will keep shooting air. It'll get up to temperature. You'll probably have to fill this up a couple times. Just take your 8 mil, crack it, get it hand tight again. Whenever it gets to 160 on the Mega Squirt, that thermostat will open, and I should expect this whole radiator to come into play, and it should get quite hot. 160 degrees. We got a hot one. Lower one's not too hot. We'll give it a second. So So now I'm going to crack the bleeder valve again, tighten it up a little. I'm going to rev it up again to 2K. As far as I can tell, that should be pretty damn well bled. So now I'm just gonna let it idle probably 10 more minutes. Make sure that the cooling temperature stays constant. And then I guess I'll give it a drive. You know, drive it around. And then come back, bleed it again, check the level.